The vast emptiness of space stretched before the human starship horizon, its sleek metallic hull reflecting distant starlight. Captain Junho Park stood near the main viewport, his hands clasped behind his back, watching the infinite darkness with calm concentration. Yuna Kim, the ship's science officer, broke the silence. Her fingers danced across holographic displays, scanning the surrounding space for any unusual readings. Suddenly, her console flickered with an unexpected signal. "Captain," she called, her voice steady but alert. "We're detecting an unknown vessel approaching from the starboard side." Yuno moved closer, studying the holographic representation of the incoming ship. It was unlike anything they had encountered before. A crystalline structure that seemed to shimmer and change shape as it moved. No sharp edges, no aggressive posturing, just a graceful approach that suggested curiosity more than threat. The communication system crackled to life. Strange sounds emerged, not quite language, more like a complex series of musical tones and harmonic vibrations. Yuna's translation software worked furiously, attempting to decode the transmission. "They're trying to communicate," she reported, "but their communication method is entirely different from any known galactic protocol." The alien vessel drew closer. Its surface seemed to breathe, changing colors from deep azure to soft lavender, then to a pale green. It was beautiful, almost organic in its movement. Junho remained calm. Years of space exploration had taught him that first encounters were delicate moments. One wrong move could transform a potential peaceful interaction into a catastrophic conflict. "Open a standard communication channel," he instructed. "Use universal mathematical sequences as our initial greeting." Yuna activated the communication array. A series of prime numbers, mathematical constants, and geometric patterns began transmitting, a universal language that transcended spoken words. The alien ship responded. Its surface began to pulse with light, creating complex geometric patterns that matched the mathematical sequences. It was communication, but not in any traditional sense. Minutes passed. The two vessels drifted close enough that their energy signatures began to interact. Something strange was happening. The alien ship seemed to be studying the horizon, not with sensors, but with what almost felt like curiosity. "They're scanning us," Yuna whispered, her instruments showing unprecedented levels of information exchange. "But it's not like a typical scan. It's more like understanding." Junho watched the alien vessel, sensing something profound was occurring. This wasn't just a meeting of two spacecraft. It felt like a meeting of two completely different forms of intelligence. Suddenly, a holographic representation materialized on the bridge. It wasn't a traditional alien figure, but a swirling collection of light and energy that seemed to represent consciousness itself. No distinct shape, no recognizable features, just pure, intelligent energy. The energy form began to communicate, not through words, but through a series of complex emotional and conceptual impressions that washed over the bridge crew. Feelings of exploration, curiosity, caution, and a deep desire to understand filtered through their minds. Yuna gasped. Her translation software was struggling, capturing fragments of meaning. "They're travelers, researchers. They've been searching for new forms of intelligence across the galaxy." Junho remained composed, but his mind was racing. This was unlike any first contact scenario in human history. These weren't just aliens. They were a form of intelligence so different from human understanding that traditional communication seemed primitive. The energy form pulsed, sending waves of information. Images of distant star systems, complex scientific concepts, and a sense of collective consciousness flooded the bridge. It was overwhelming yet fascinating. "They want to learn about us," Yuna said, her voice a mixture of excitement and disbelief. "Not just our technology, but our entire way of being." As the two vessels continued their silent dance through the starlit void, neither crew nor the energy beings knew that this moment would change galactic history forever. A simple encounter between two completely different forms of intelligence had just begun. The horizon hung in space, its human crew facing an encounter that would challenge everything they thought they knew about life, intelligence, and the universe itself. The research facility on the neutral galactic station hummed with nervous energy. Rows of holographic screens displayed complex biological data about humans, each chart and graph causing increasing alarm among the alien scientists. Elder Tron, the lead researcher from the Galactic Council, carefully reviewed the human biological reports. His three-fingered hands trembled as he processed the information. Humans were unlike any species they had encountered before. "They consume other living organisms," he muttered, mandibles clicking with growing unease. The concept of eating flesh was completely foreign to most galactic civilizations, which primarily sustained themselves through energy absorption or photosynthetic processes. The human medical records revealed a shocking evolutionary history. Humans were omnivores, creatures designed to hunt, process, and digest both plant and animal matter. Their teeth were perfectly structured for tearing meat, their digestive systems incredibly adaptable, and their muscular structure demonstrated remarkable predatory potential. Captain Junho Park sat calmly during the examination, allowing alien scientists to collect data. His relaxed demeanor only intensified their growing anxiety. Every movement, every biological response suggested a species built for survival in the most challenging environments. Yuna Kim, the ship's science officer, provided detailed explanations. "Humans evolved as apex predators on a planet with extreme environmental challenges," she explained. "Our ability to hunt, adapt, and survive became our primary evolutionary advantage." The alien researchers discovered something even more terrifying. Human historical records showed centuries of hunting, technological advancement through conflict, and an incredible capacity to overcome environmental limitations. They weren't just a species, they were a force of nature. Genetic analysis revealed extraordinary details. Human DNA contained complex adaptive mechanisms that allowed rapid biological adjustments. Their immune systems could fight multiple pathogens simultaneously. Their muscles could rebuild quickly after stress, and their brain capacity for problem-solving was unprecedented. "They can survive extreme temperatures," one researcher noted, studying thermal adaptation data. "They can create tools, modify environments, and hunt complex prey using strategic thinking." The most disturbing revelation came from human dietary habits. Not only could humans consume a wide range of organic materials, but they also seemed to derive pleasure from the process of hunting and preparing food. Cooking wasn't just nutrition. It was a cultural practice that demonstrated creativity and social bonding. Eldertron reviewed images of human hunting practices throughout history: primitive stone tools, advanced weapons, cooperative hunting strategies. Each technological step showed a species designed for survival and dominance. Junho observed the alien researchers' growing panic with quiet amusement. He understood their fear but saw no reason to apologize for human evolutionary development. Survival was a universal law, regardless of the species. "Your species consumes energy," Yuna explained to the increasingly nervous researchers. "Humans consume physical matter. Both are simply methods of obtaining necessary resources for survival." The biological reports continued to shock the research team. Human adaptability meant they could survive in environments that would kill most known galactic species. Extreme cold, extreme heat, low oxygen, high radiation. Humans had demonstrated remarkable resilience. Their muscular and skeletal structures showed signs of constant adaptation. Higher bone density, efficient muscle fiber composition, and a nervous system capable of processing complex motor skills made humans potential physical powerhouses. The most frightening aspect was human psychological adaptability. Their capacity to learn, modify behavior, and develop complex problem-solving strategies suggested a species that could potentially outcompete most known civilizations. "They are not just a biological entity," Eldertron whispered to his colleagues. "They are a dynamic, evolving system of survival." As the research continued, the initial fear began transforming into a grudging respect. Humans weren't just another species to be categorized. They were a complex, powerful form of life that defied conventional understanding. Captain Junho watched, the alien researchers, a slight smile playing on his lips. He knew exactly what they were discovering, the same thing humans had known for millennia. Survival wasn't about being the strongest or the largest. It was about being the most adaptable. The biological revelations were complete. The Galactic Council now understood what humans represented, not just a species, but a living testament to the power of adaptation, survival, and relentless evolution. The diplomatic chamber buzzed with tension. Alien representatives from various galactic species stared at Captain Junho Park and Yuna Kim with a mixture of fear and disgust. The topic of discussion: human dietary practices. Kirill Vex, the primary diplomatic liaison, couldn't contain his horror. His translucent skin shifted between shades of blue and green, revealing his extreme emotional state. "You mean to tell us," he stammered, "that your species deliberately hunts and consumes other living organisms?" Yunho remained calm, a slight smile playing on his lips. The reaction was exactly what he had expected. Most galactic civilizations sustained themselves through energy absorption or complex photosynthetic processes. The concept of hunting and eating flesh was completely alien to them. Yuna stepped forward, her scientific mind ready to provide a detailed explanation. "Humans are omnivores," she began. "Our evolutionary process developed a complex nutritional system that allows us to consume both plant and animal matter." The chamber erupted in whispers. Holographic displays showed human hunting practices, cooking methods, and dietary habits. To the herbivorous and energy-based species present, these images were nothing short of terrifying. An elder from the Quantum Energy Collective raised a trembling appendage. "You intentionally end the life of another living being to sustain yourselves?" The question hung in the air, loaded with judgment and fear. Junho understood the cultural gap. These species had evolved beyond physical consumption, viewing life as a sacred energy that should not be interrupted. Human practices seemed barbaric to them. "Our ecosystem on Earth developed through a complex balance of predator and prey," Junho explained. "Hunting was not just about nutrition, but about maintaining ecological balance." The diplomatic tension continued to build. Each explanation seemed to dig a deeper hole of misunderstanding. Alien representatives began to imagine humans as savage creatures, constantly hunting and consuming everything in their path. Kirill Vex's fears reached a peak. "What guarantees do we have," he demanded, "that humans won't view other sentient species as potential food sources?" Yuna tried to provide context. She explained human ethical frameworks, environmental conservation efforts, and the complex moral considerations that guided human interactions with other living beings. But her words seemed to fall on deaf ears. The Galactic Council's fear was transforming into something more dangerous. Whispers of potential isolation, of creating barriers to prevent human interaction, began to circulate. What had started as a diplomatic meeting was quickly becoming a potential interstellar incident. Junho watched the proceedings carefully. He understood that this was more than a simple misunderstanding. This was a clash of fundamental biological and cultural perspectives. Humans represented something completely unknown and terrifying to these advanced civilizations. One representative from the Energy Collective spoke up. "Your very biological structure is a threat," he declared. "A species that must consume other living beings cannot be trusted." The irony was lost on them. These same species had evolved complex systems of consuming energy, essentially feeding on different forms of radiation and electromagnetic processes. Yet they saw themselves as morally superior. Yuna tried another approach. She began explaining human agricultural practices, sustainable farming, and the careful balance humans had learned to maintain with their environment. But the fear had already taken root. Captain Junho realized that no amount of explanation would immediately change their perspective. Cultural understanding took time, and right now, the Galactic Council was too terrified to listen. As the diplomatic session concluded, an uncomfortable silence filled the chamber. Humans had been effectively labeled as potential threats, dangerous predators whose very existence seemed to challenge the peaceful paradigms of galactic civilization. Kirill Vex approached Junho, his body language radiating a mixture of fear and reluctant respect. "We will need to discuss further security protocols," he said, his voice trembling slightly. Junho nodded, understanding that this was just the beginning of a long and complex process of mutual understanding. Humanity had always faced challenges, by adapting, by proving their worth through action rather than words. As they left the diplomatic chamber, Yuna looked at her captain. "That could have gone better," she said quietly. Junho's response was a calm smile. "They'll understand," he said. Eventually. The void of space erupted with chaos. Massive energy-consuming entities swept through galactic territories, destroying everything in their path. Entire planetary systems vanished within moments, reduced to cosmic dust by an unstoppable threat. Junho Park stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching the holographic displays show the catastrophic invasion. The Galactic Council's most advanced defense systems had already failed. Trillions of lives hung in the balance. "We're receiving desperate communication signals," Yuna Kim reported, her fingers racing across the navigation console. "Multiple species are requesting immediate assistance." The invading entities were unlike anything previously encountered. They consumed energy on a massive scale, converting entire star systems into pure computational resources. No known civilization had found a way to stop them. Kirill Vex, the diplomatic liaison who once feared humans, now looked at Junho with a mixture of desperation and hope. The human captain remained calm, his mind already processing potential strategies. "They consume energy," Junho muttered, a plan forming in his mind. "But they're not prepared for adaptive thinking." Yuna caught his meaning immediately. Humans had evolved through constant adaptation, solving problems that seemed impossible to other species. Where advanced technological civilizations saw insurmountable challenges, humans saw opportunities. The horizon moved differently from other ships. Instead of following standard galactic combat protocols, Junho began implementing unconventional tactics. He used the ship's systems in ways that defied traditional understanding. "We're going to use their own energy consumption against them," he explained to the mixed crew of humans and alien specialists. His strategy was simple, yet brilliant. Create multiple false energy signatures that would attract and then trap the invading entities. Yuna's scientific expertise became crucial. She developed complex algorithms that mimicked energy patterns, creating intricate digital lures that would confuse the invading systems. Each simulation was a potential trap, designed to exploit the entity's predictable consumption patterns. The first test worked perfectly. A massive energy-consuming entity diverted its path, following what it believed was a massive energy source. Instead, it found itself caught in a complex quantum disruption field developed by human engineers. Alien species watched in disbelief. The humans were doing what no other civilization had managed, finding a way to combat a seemingly unbeatable threat through creative problem-solving and adaptive strategy. One by one, the invading entities fell into carefully constructed traps. What seemed like random movements were actually precisely calculated maneuvers. Junho's team transformed the entire battle into an intricate chess game, always 3 steps ahead of the enemy. Kirill Vex could hardly believe what he was witnessing. The species he had once feared was now saving multiple galactic civilizations. Human unpredictability, their ability to think beyond established technological frameworks, was proving to be the ultimate weapon. "They're not fighting with technology," one alien scientist observed. "They're fighting with intelligence." The battle continued for what seemed like endless hours. The horizon moved like a phantom through space, creating complex energy networks that confused and ultimately defeated the invading entities. Each strategy was a testament to human creativity. As the final entity was neutralized, a profound silence fell across the galaxy. Entire civilizations that had once viewed humans with suspicion now looked at them with newfound respect. Junho didn't celebrate. He understood that survival was never about being the strongest, but about being the most adaptable. Humans had proven this once again. Yuna looked at her captain, a subtle smile crossing her face. "We did it," she said simply. The galactic communication channels erupted with messages of gratitude. Species that had once feared humans now saw them as potential saviors. The perception was changing slowly but definitively. Kirill Vex approached Junho, his previous fear completely transformed. "How did you do this?" he asked, genuine admiration in his voice. Junho's response was typical of human understanding. "We didn't just see a problem," he explained. "We saw an opportunity to solve something everyone else thought was impossible. The unexpected salvation had arrived, not through advanced technology or overwhelming force, but through human adaptability, creativity, and an unbreakable spirit of survival." The Galactic Council chamber fell silent. Rows of alien representatives stared at Captain Junho Park and his crew, their previous fear now replaced with a complex mixture of respect and wonder. Elder Tron, who once trembled at human biological reports, now stood at the central podium. His voice carried a weight of official acknowledgement. "Humanity has proven itself," he declared, "not just as a species but as a critical part of galactic civilization. The journey from fear to acceptance had been long and challenging. Memories of initial misunderstandings seemed distant now, overshadowed by humanity's recent heroic intervention against the energy-consuming threat." Yuna Kim stood beside Junho, representing the scientific perspective of human potential. Her calm demeanor reflected years of patient explanation and cultural exchange. The alien delegates had learned that humans were far more than their initial perception of carnivorous predators. Kirill Vex, once the most vocal opponent of human integration, now became their strongest advocate. His diplomatic reports highlighted human adaptability, problem-solving skills, and unique approach to challenges. What was once seen as a threat was now recognized as a valuable asset. The integration process began systematically. Human experts were invited to join various galactic research teams. Their unique perspective of approaching problems became a sought-after skill across multiple scientific and diplomatic disciplines. "Humans don't just solve problems," one alien researcher noted. "They reimagine the entire concept of problem-solving." Educational exchanges started. Young aliens began studying human history, understanding how a species could evolve from primitive hunter-gatherers to an interstellar civilization capable of saving entire galactic populations. Cultural barriers slowly dissolved. Alien civilizations learned to appreciate human diversity, their complex social structures, and their ability to find unity in difference. Humans weren't just another species. They were a dynamic, evolving civilization. Technological collaborations emerged. Human engineers worked alongside alien scientists, combining different approaches to create innovations that neither could have developed alone. The universe began to see the true potential of diverse intellectual collaboration. Junho observed these changes with a quiet satisfaction. He understood that acceptance wasn't about proving superiority, but about demonstrating mutual respect and shared potential. The first joint galactic missions began to launch. Human crews worked alongside alien specialists, their different perspectives creating a more comprehensive approach to space exploration. What was once unimaginable became standard procedure. Economic systems adapted. Trade routes opened, incorporating human products, technologies, and cultural exports. The galaxy discovered that human creativity extended far beyond survival. It was a form of continuous innovation. Diplomatic protocols were rewritten. The Galactic Council now recognized humans as full members, with voting rights and representation in major decision-making processes. The transformation was complete. Yuna found herself teaching at multiple alien academic institutions, explaining human evolutionary history. Students from various species listened with fascination, understanding how adaptability could be the most powerful survival strategy. Elder Tron reflected on the journey. "We feared what we did not understand," he admitted during a public address. humans showed us that difference is not a threat, but an opportunity for growth. The human crew of the Horizon became symbols of this new era. Their mission had transformed from a simple exploration to a bridge between different civilizations. Each member represented the potential of understanding beyond biological and cultural differences. Junho understood that this was just the beginning. Human integration wasn't about conquering or replacing other civilizations, but about finding common ground and mutual respect. As the first Joint Galactic Conference concluded, representatives from multiple species looked at humans with a new perspective. No longer were they the unknown, feared predators. They were partners, allies, and crucial members of a broader cosmic community. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter, reflecting the newfound unity. Kiral Vex approached Junho, extending a gesture of friendship that would have been unimaginable years ago. "Welcome to the galaxy," he said, his translator conveying both respect and genuine warmth. Junho's response was simple but powerful. "We're all in this together," he replied, embodying the human spirit of cooperation and hope. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not through force but through understanding, adaptability, and an unbreakable spirit of exploration.